The third strand of this book is about meaning. Looking for meaning in my own personal life and the sort of the grand play of the unfolding cosmos. You know, we can see this in biology, we can see it in history, we can see it in evolution. As life evolves, it becomes ever more complex. These ever more complex biological structures give rise to consciousness, and ultimately this consciousness begins to reflect upon itself. It becomes self-consciousness. And at that point you get creatures such as us or other creatures, maybe like some of the great apes, who can begin to reflect upon themselves. And that's of course what we do a lot of the time. I'm born into a universe that I don't quite understand. I'm born into a universe that gives me these sensations. Right? I wake up each morning and I have feelings of pain and of pleasure, of seeing the blue sky here in Southern California. And this gives me great joy, just being alive. And I'm born into a universe that has this unfolding order, that has this unfolding complexity, that has this unfolding conscious sensation that seems to spread. And so this is what gives my life meaning. A man I deeply admire. We could now attack the problem of consciousness by focusing on a very specific aspect of consciousness, namely what we call the NCC, the neuronal correlates of consciousness. That we could begin to hone in what are the critical brain structures that are necessary, A, to be conscious at all. Those are reasonably well identified from patient study. But more importantly, what are the brain mechanisms? What type of neurons in what areas, what type of synapses are necessary for you to have any one specific conscious percept, like you know, seeing a blue sky or having a toothache or hearing a high C. Those are three distinct conscious states. What is the neuronal correlate of those conscious states? You're much less free than you think you are. There are all sorts of things that determine you, your parents, your genes, of course, your environment. So that still leaves the question, the residue of this question, to what extent can you, within the straitjacket given by the physics and given by the psychology of it, how much wiggle room do you have left? Also has this conceptual space where it hit the ground, the solid ground of determinism. Then of course you realize that we certainly live in an indeterminate universe. We live in a universe that we know is described by quantum mechanics, which is not a deterministic theory. Still there remains the question, to what extent do we have any voluntary wiggle room left, and what does it mean? How would you test that? Clearly we can all act voluntarily. To what extent this free remains to be seen, but it's really interesting, the scientific question, can we track down in the brain the parts of the brain where actually the rubber meets the road, where actually voluntary action is created? To what extent is this under our conscious control?
Climbing.
The most intense things I've ever done in my life.
How beautiful it is here. I was thinking of the aesthetic of the beach. All by yourself, in the sun, on top of a mountain. You can see the dolphins playing in the water. Blue sky above you. Where else would you want to be? Besides your lab.
Science.
The only way how we can make sense about the world is through science. Very easy life, very straightforward.